Well, welcome to another episode of Above Trauma Tuesdays. I go by the name of Marcus K. Jr., and this episode is dedicated to the Katt Williams interview on Club Shay Shay. And I'd like to get into some quotes that I took from the episode and the interview and basically translate them into a format that can be used to better your life. When it comes to the healing process, the healing journey that we all should be on in repairing ourselves and taking care of ourselves and identifying the areas that we want to improve and grow in and the trauma we want to live above. We want to translate as many things as we can and use them in our favor, use them towards that goal, right? And there was a lot of jewels that were dropped in that episode that I wanna talk about. And so, in addition to that, this being 2024, and we're only about a week in, and we've been having a lot. I don't know. It feels like a whole nother year has happened since January 1st. Like there's been a lot going on. So I want to get through this pretty quickly, and then open the floor up to anybody that might want to want to talk about it and chime in. So the first thing that he said, or the first quote that I pulled out for discussion, was that the truth is the commodity. He said in his interview, the truth is the commodity. And one way to use that in your life is to make sure that you do not stand in fear of the lies that people may tell about you. You may be dealing with an ex, you may be dealing with people that dislike you, you may be dealing with people at your job trying to undermine you, people in your family. And one of the main weapons that people use against you is deception in your face, but also lies and fabrication done behind your back to discredit your name. And if you haven't done anything wrong, I want you to be confident that the truth will stand alone. The truth will reveal itself. I always say that the truth doesn't need a campaign. People that are liars, people that are manipulators, people that thrive off of having a certain image that may not be authentic, they have to go out and recruit other people to their cause. They have to run to other people and try to convert them or make them believe the false narrative, because if they rally enough people to their false narrative, then they believe they've won. But the truth doesn't need a lot of people. The truth stands alone. The truth has evidence to it, right? And that's basically what this interview signified. Was basically he was telling his truth for 2+ hours of time. And the interesting thing is, after the interview, a lot of people came out to corroborate the story. So, not to say everything that he said is true, because we don't have any idea, but a lot of evidence did come out that he was telling a lot of truth. Another thing he said was, all my enemies look the same. And this was important for me because, one thing that's important is to examine the types of people that try to come against you. What you'll notice is that if you are a good-hearted person, if you're a good-natured person, what you'll find is that a lot of people that come against you uh, carry the same type of energy, right? They make up lies about you because the truth about you would expose negatives and flaws within them, right? So if you are a truth-telling individual, if you are a helpful, generous, supportive, positive person, not that you're perfect, but you don't try to take advantage of people, you always lend a hand, you're always looking out for the next person. These are positive qualities. So an enemy on paper doesn't have any reason to do anything negative to you. So they would have to make up stories about you to justify harming you in whatever way they choose to harm you. So this is the necessity of someone who is either offended by the fact that you maybe rejected them romantically, someone who is offended by your notoriety, offended by your energy, offended by your light, offended by your capabilities, your skill set, your talents, your look, your aesthetic. There could be millions of reasons why someone would take offense, or reasons why you unknowingly activate insecurities in other people. And it's not your fault if you're not intentionally trying to disrespect or trying to activate someone's insecurities, and you happen to do so just by virtue of what you represent. They know that they have no right to retaliate against you based on what you represent. So they have to create lies. This is essentially the framework of the interview. If you look at Katt Williams, for a long time, a lot of comedians have been saying different things about him, saying that he was on drugs and, trying to degrade him and assassinate his character over time unprovoked. And you may wonder why this whole gang up type of culture was kind of happening in the arena of comedy. And part of the reason, it looks like, is because of what he represented. Now, what does he represent? Well, if you watch the interview, he represents somebody who, one, is a generous individual, two, who has a lot of connections and respect, on the streets, as well as in the industry of comedy, right? But also someone who is a truth teller. Now, when we talk about Hollywood, that's the opposite. Truth is not the main theme of Hollywood. Hollywood is a place of fantasies and illusions and cover-ups, and deception is at the base of Hollywood. It's a media arm. It's something that is not meant to really bring truth. And if you know that somebody in comedy, if you're a comedian, is known for truth telling, there has to be, how do you attempt to defeat truth? Well, one of the ways you attempt to defeat truth is you have to rally around and gather as many people as you can to create a group lie about somebody to try to take them down. And that's what's been happening with him. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is that no matter how many people try to come against you with lies and fabrication, the truth always stands on its own. and it doesn't need to recruit other people to its cause. The truth is the truth, and the truth is going to stand alone because, in addition, the truth has evidence. The truth leaves clues and patterns and pieces that reflect what the truth is. And just like I was saying on the interview, a lot of people did come out to corroborate Katt's story. And one thing people did not call him was a liar. And that's an important thing. Another thing he said was, I have 12 specials. Why do I have to be in conversations with specialist people? And that's something that we can take with us as well. You see, moving forward in life, you're going to realize that a lot of people have issues with you who who are less accomplished than you. And when I say less accomplished, this doesn't necessarily have to mean that they're less accomplished in career. It can be in any area. You'll find that, you know, there's a phrase that people say, well, most people don't hate down, they hate up. So if people do have an issue with you, or they feel like they have to lie to destroy you, that means that you have something they want but feel like they can't achieve, or they can't become, right? And so to go back and forth with people who are active, whose insecurity is activated around you, is a worthless task. Because again, to my earlier point, the truth stands alone. So you hold the power because of the type of energy they have towards you, because they hate you for one reason or another. There's always a reason for that, and that's something that we can take in our lives to move forward with as well. Another quote that we can translate into our daily lives and use on our healing journey is, he said, if I look at it, I got it. Right? There was a certain part of the interview where he said, you know, if I look at it, I got it. Right? And that was alluding to manifestation, you know, focusing on and visualizing the things that we desire and holding those as certainties, right? A lot of times we may have certain outcomes that we want in our lives. We may have, you know, certain achievements that we want, you know, certain levels in our career or our passions that we want to reach. But we don't spend enough time visualizing ourselves in those outcomes. The reason for that is because we get caught up in what's happening at the present. We get caught up in the issues of the present, the tasks of the present, the obstacles of the present. Anything that's going on currently, we find ourselves battling with, and it makes us lose sight of that goal. And a lot of times we may feel doubtful that we'll ever reach that point because of what's happening right now, or because of what's not happening right now. We may feel as though we should be at a certain level by now, or we should be at a certain pace. And there may be a lot of different things you're trying to deal with at one time, and it can make everything really difficult to deal with. And so this is another reason why we should always be spending time focusing on the end outcome, and not just focusing on it, but feeling how it feels to be in that end goal, right? To have unwavering belief in what we're going to become, and what we're going to get to. And so shout out to everybody in the room. Shout out to you, Shiva. Shout out to you, April Shower. It was always a pleasure. And I'll just reset. What I'm doing is I'm going through some quotes that I've taken from the Katt Williams interview and translating them into what we can use in our daily lives, on our healing journey, because there was a lot of things there that, a lot of themes there that we can be using for our own personal lives and our own repair, our own achievement, and just navigating different personalities on a daily basis. So another thing he said, no good deed goes unpunished, and that's a very common quote, but it's definitely true. And I don't want you to be discouraged by that, because it can be very discouraging. But I do believe it's important to note, because when we may feel as though because we're good to people that they are going to be good back to us, and that expectation comes from childhood. It's because at that point we didn't understand the complexities of how insecurity shows up in people, right? And how certain people, as you grow, the mere fact that you're in a position to help them and to do for them and to give them money, support, time, etc., can trigger their insecurity even more and cause them to want to do harm to you, either directly or indirectly or passively, right? Spreading, people that you help the most may be spreading the most misinformation and lies about you. The people that you help the most may be the ones who could be the quickest to betray you at a certain point. And again, it's not to discourage you. It's not to put you in a space where you feel like you can't trust anybody. But it is it is an indicator of who needs to be in your life and who doesn't, because it's a point. If you're going to choose a circle to be around you or to interact the most with, they should be individuals who hold the same qualities and character traits that you do, but also to the people who reciprocate your energy and support. It's very difficult for people who are takers, right, who have this insatiable need for everybody to pour into them, and but it's very difficult for that personality to then offer support and help, because their trauma puts them in a state where they always need to be receiving from someone. They always need to be in a space of being cared for, being helped, being able to vent to individuals. And they're always in a space of need, and they never feel like they're ever in a position where they want to give to anyone, because that's how their trauma response works. But it's not something that you should have to endure. You always have a choice. That goes to my next quote from the interview. He said, all monsters are feeding on something. And so the goal would be to look around you, to look within your circle, your family, right? Are there any monsters among you that are feeding off of your energy? Are there any individuals that you know that are taking and not replenishing? And we need to make sure that we are not feeding these monsters in our lives, but rather we are starving them out. Because if you're feeding a monster, number one, the monster is not going to get full, so that's extra energy. And number two, this is extra energy that we are not giving to ourselves. So if we're always in a state of output and providing for everybody else's emotional needs and physical needs, etc., and we're always on an outpour, then, and we're not getting it back, then we are essentially draining ourselves on a daily basis. And that can't continue into this year. If this has been a pattern for anyone listening, that can't be something that moves into this next year. um, so you definitely want to practice, number one, examining who's in your phone, who is around you, who are these people that, who do you give your energy to, and are they deserving of that energy? And if not, start to redirect that energy back onto yourself through the vehicle of consistent self-care, right? So he also said, why do we look at a basketball player and say he didn't score any hockey goals this season? He doesn't play hockey, right? So he was saying that in reference to our expectations of Kanye. But I think we can use that statement to also reflect how a lot of times we set ourselves up for disappointment because we expect certain people to get and understand certain things that they are committed to not understanding. And there may be certain individuals in our lives who are committed to their own patterns rather than committed to growth. We can be committed to growth. You all can identify as people who, I'm trying to be better, and I've seen a lot of you guys in my spaces, which means that for me, that's a blessing, but that's also an indicator that, you on some level are committed to your own growth, your own repair, um, and your own evolution, right? And I respect that to the utmost. But we also must understand that that's the minority. The majority of people are committed to their patterns. And a lot of times we believe that we can change people based on, appealing to how they're hurting you. A lot of times we think we can change people based on reminding them of the past history that you have, or if your family, using that as an angle to try to convince people to change. We may try to use guilt to try to change people, to try to get people to understand that what they're doing is harmful, or you know or trying to activate them. Like maybe there's an older family member and you're the only one taking care of this person, and then you got all these siblings, but then nobody's helping but you. And then it's like, well, you trying to beat it in their head, like, look, this is mom, or this is dad, or this is whoever, like this is grandma, like, why am I the only one doing XYZ? And or having the expectation of people who have shown you nothing but the opposite, expecting them to change, is putting ourselves in a perpetual state of disappointment. So, it's really about wrecking. It's not about then just doing everything yourself, but it's about finding a way to not have that expectation, and also find a way to get outside assistance by any means necessary. Because when everybody drops the ball, that doesn't mean that you got to pick it up and you got to carry it, the whole way. It may mean that you need to delegate to a professional, or find a way that you can get somebody else to provide assistance, um, because this will not be a year of overexhaustion and over sacrifice, right? You may be somebody who you know does does any and everything possible for certain people, um to your own detriment. And I think that's where the extreme comes in. That's where you can tell it's over the line, because if I were to ask anyone who's doing that, they would, what have you done for yourself? There probably would be a little bit of silence there, right? And so that should always, it may be tough, but there has to be a transition to where you become the priority. Because again, nobody can really benefit truly from who you are when you are compromised by overexhaustion and overwhelm, because you're not even your best self, right? And you're hanging on by a thread, and your health is deteriorating. That's the other part of it too, because now sleep is compromised, diet is compromised, exercise is compromised, and you're not even in the right state of mind to be able to make the right decisions. And it becomes, and if I'm being honest, it becomes a physical safety issue sometimes, because when you're doing too much and you don't give yourself adequate breaks or self-care time frames to interrupt the chaos, it affects your brain functioning and reaction time. Now, if you are someone who drives, cognitive function and reaction time are essential to survival. Do you realize how many people are out here driving and texting at the same time? You realize how many people are trying to multitask in the car? You realize how, you know, much inclement weather we have going on at any given moment. You know, there's ambulances and all, buses. Everybody's driving crazy, everybody's distracted. So even if you're not the one driving aggressively, if your reaction time and cognitive function is not on point, you can find yourself in the hospital, or even much worse, off the planet, because you know because of something that could have been avoided by simply starting a pattern, or creating a routine of interrupting the chaos with intentional breaks for yourself, to regulate your nervous system, to calm yourself down, and to reach that level of homeostasis before you get back into action, right? And that can look like a lot of things. That can look like meditation. That can look like reading. That can look like a massage. That can look like, watching something, funny. That can, look like a nature walk, right? That can be, swimming indoors, like, yoga, all these different things. And the cool thing about it is you get to create it. You get to create it yourself. Create your own incubation, it's like your own chamber that you go into, and you recharge your battery. So think of it the same way you would a cell phone. At a certain point, when you look at your cell phone and it's in there and it's in the red, you rush to a charger. But when your human battery is in the red, many of us do what? We do more stuff. We keep going. We push through, right? Not even the machines can push through. If your phone gets dead, it's dead. It's not, it doesn't auto charge. It's out of here. You have to physically charge it and put it down and stop using it in order for it to get a sufficient charge. So why do we think that we are more capable of extreme energy expenditure than an actual machine? We have to really look at it like that. So we have to have the same urgency that we would when the phone's dying to go plug it in because we need it. We have to plug ourselves in because we need it. And we have to treat it as an emergency when we start to reach these states of mind, where our mood is dysregulated, our energy is dysregulated, right? And so that's just one thing I want you guys to focus on. Also, definitely get the app. Um, get the Above Trauma app. This is my app that I've been working on for quite some time. It's the only trauma healing app for Black Americans. This is something that I'm very proud of, and I upload new content on a weekly basis. Pretty soon it's going to be a daily. Pretty soon it's going to be a daily basis. But make sure you guys download the app. I have it for Android and iPhone. Set up your account in there and just get busy. I have everything from meditations. I have, just different articles that I've written on various topics. I have virtual courses in there. I have a children's section as well, for, if you have kids or if you're an educator, and, nieces, nephews, anything like that, who may be dealing with trauma, anxiety, depression. I have different coping strategies in there for the youth as well. Different, film projects I've created, and, any and everything you need. Dating was a dating section as well too, and any and everything that we need to heal ourselves on the four main levels that I focus on, and that's the mental health, the life purpose, relationships, and physical health, right? And there's also a lot of material on, grief and loss, and, the anti-Black racism that we deal with and that we, try to repair from, right? And, so again, that's why I said we have a very specific existence in this country, and it's long overdue for us to have the adequate resources to reverse the damage. And, so this is why I created this, for us to heal, for us to grow, and, for us to have a place to tap into to counteract everything else that's on the phone, right? When you go on these different apps and you go on these different timelines and you just see, us getting murdered, us fighting, us getting locked up, right? And in a perpetual cycle that does psychological damage. It's secondary victimization. Even though it's not us that it's happening to directly at that moment, it's a collective traumatic experience that is purposely done, and it seeps into the psyche, which is why I created an app for us to be able to go to 24/7 to counteract it, because our subconscious is only programmable by repetition. And so my goal was, or is, that if we're going to be inundated on a daily basis with oppression and trauma, the healing has to be accessible every day, any time of the day as well. The healing can't sleep if the trauma don't sleep, right? If the trauma is awake 24/7 and on our phone as soon as we turn it on, then the healing's got to be the same way. It's got to be accessible 24/7 regardless, right? And so definitely hop on there and give me some feedback too. You can message me within the app, let me know how it's looking. Let me know your favorite points of content. Again, I'm working tirelessly, to continue to keep creating, keep uploading, and, keeping you fed as far as the strategies and the support to keep you in the best mood state so that you can remain activated and able to do the best thing that you do for us as a collective. I see us all as an integral part of this movement. All of us have individual talents and individual past history, interests, purpose, all of these different things. And I'm here and I exist to help you remove the internal barriers in order for you to have that fully expressed and to live your best life as well and to have the best mood states possible. So I'm gonna get the real Miss Lisa in here, and then we'll close things out. And if you do want to request and hop on, definitely send me a request.
Hi, hey April Complex, how you doing, Marcus? Let me pause it. I downloaded the app last week, and I went through the introduction, and you got a lot of information um on the app, he asks you for a daily check-in. What I failed to do these last 2 days. Um, I think if I really just put my mind to it, because something dangerous could have really happened, and I was a part of it. Not really a part of it, but I could have got myself hurt trying to be kind, and it turned out to a whole mess. It wasn't nothing messy, but today I was popping in and out, in and out. I gotta focus. I mean, I really do gotta focus. Like, what's really important. I want to do my podcast. I'm coming up with this mouth surgery, and for 4 months, I'm gonna have to walk around with no teeth, and that's gonna be very hard. I gave myself a break this week about my mama stuff. Um, I just gotta balance some stuff, and I need to back away from some stuff too. Yeah, and that's gonna take practice, and I'm willing to do it because what happened, it was really dangerous. It could have been really, really dangerous. You never know what a person is, what they've done, and anything, and it's just not good. It's not good, and it's some things I got to work in within myself, and I'm going to do it because I have to get better. I want to do my stand up comedy. I want to live. Like, I'm just tired of existing, and I'm making it. I'm tired of just making it. I want to live. I want to live, and it's $10. I think it's a well spent $10 a month because to have extra support when you need it, because you can't find it. Some people just want to hear it for bullshit, but when it comes down to the real, it does have a section that you can reach out to him in an emergency. I like that. And man, I spend $10 on numbers, and I'm giving it a chance, and I think it's worth it because none of us is perfect, and I'll be 59 this year. I'll be 59, and like I said, you know, I know I'm blessed than the others. We got our own apartment, our lights is on, my bills is paid, we got food in the refrigerator, my son is good, and there's so many people that have so much less. I just need to focus on what I have, but what I want, I'm gonna have to go back to crawling. At least I know that. And it's okay. The fun of it is the beginning. And thank you for letting me share, and thank you, Marcus. You're a good guy, man. You're really a good guy. And your heart is in the right place. And if you heal just one, God says your job is done. And I'm going to lay it down for now and just say thank you. And I'm going to ask y'all, just download it, go through it. It's webinars, it's a lot in there. But I need to focus more on it because, like I said, I don't want to really get into it. It messed me up. That's the only thing I can say. It got me thinking like totally different. It really, really different. Maybe I'll DM you and tell you, but yeah, and that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, and you're making progress. Just by virtue of the fact that you said you're focused on taking a break and you're paying attention to, the content, definitely check the meditations in there as well. I think that'd be helpful for you too. Um, but yeah, receiving the indication to say, all right, I need to take this break and I need to focus on me is big progress for you. I'm being 100% honest. And the fact that you have your goals identified, you want to get into this, this stand-up comedy thing, that has to be the visual. So that's what you're working towards. And you want to make sure that, you're taking the small steps to get there, because that would be a major milestone for you. And we're all supportive of you reaching that goal. And yeah, we're definitely going to touch base this week and everything like that. But for sure, I'm just glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear progress. I'm glad to hear you, moving in the right direction. So and I appreciate you, just being a part of the healing, because that's really what I'm here to create. I like to make it easy. Life is hard enough for us, so it should be easy for us to have access to what we need to reverse, to go in the opposite direction. So I appreciate every last one of you for coming through tonight. Thank you, Miss Lisa, for sharing, and I will see you guys next week. And feel free to reach out, if you guys need anything in the meantime. All right, y'all have a good one.
Be safe out there, man. Be safe out there. That weather terrible. Yeah, we got this storm and then all this wind on the East Coast. So I just wish you blessings and be safe and drive safe. And that's to everybody. Okay. All right. God bless everybody. I'll talk to you later.
All right, y'all be good. Appreciate it.